Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you for watching. Today I wanted to talk about stuff that didn't make sense to me while being a Jehovah's Witness. In this case I want to talk about redefining words. And I just wrote down a couple of things here. Most of you know what I mean by redefining words. As a Jehovah's Witness you use these specific terms for specific things, and what happens is that words get redefined. And maybe this sounds kind of vague, but let's start off with the first thing. Maybe then becomes clearer. The first thing I wrote down on my list is truth, or the truth, because as a Jehovah's Witness, amongst each other, people talk about the organization as the truth, but with outsiders you would never talk like, yeah, I'm in the truth, or something like that, because it's really weird. It sounds very culty if you say that. And when I was at this funeral at the end of September, I guess, there were a lot of people that I knew from my time as a Jehovah's Witness, and everyone's actually kind of chill and okay, and that's because I never was baptized, so I was never disfellowshipped, or I never disassociated, so technically they can still, I don't know, preach to me or something. And there were these girls, and they're like, are girls, they're not girls anymore, they're just like grown women. I guess they are I don't know, a couple of years older than me, these two sisters, and they were really cool, and they were happy to see me, and we had a lot of catching up to do. And one of them told me, are you still doing something with the truth? And I was like, no, not really. And I decided I'm not going to bash them or discuss with them why I don't think it's the truth. Because maybe a funeral is not really a place for that. But yeah, it's just like normal language for them to call their religion the truth. So the second thing I've written on my list is world or worldly, because normally if you say the world, you mean the earth, our planet maybe, or the third world. It's more like a part of the planet, maybe a certain continent. For Jehovah's Witnesses, the world or worldly has always this negative ring to it. It always means people who are not Jehovah's Witnesses, the bad, the wicked people. And I've once heard this Jehovah's Witness joke that this person that was interested once came to I call it a district convention or something, and then he said that, wow, it's very worldly here. And in my language, in Dutch, when you say worldly, it actually means like, oh, super awesome. And everyone was like, laughing because he said worldly, but not in the right context. You understand? So that was kind of cringy. And it's kind of demeaning to say that someone is worldly, because immediately it means that someone is bad. So that always didn't strike a right chord with me. Next one, meditate. To meditate or meditating. In Watchtower literature, when they talk about meditating, it actually means to think about a certain subject, to ponder something. But when you say to a normal person, hey, let's go meditate, obviously they would think of it as like meditating, the yoga stuff, the kind of thing that is really not encouraged as a Jehovah's Witness, because they always were really weird on yoga. They always actually explain meditation as, well, to us it means to fill your mind with positive stuff on biblical subjects, and for the world, meditating means emptying your thoughts. And of course, when your thoughts are empty and your mind is empty and chilled out, you obviously make place for Satan to come in and fill your thoughts or something. That's why they thought yoga is very bad. And also we have the word pagan, I saw a video last time by, what's his name? John from the XJW Analyzer. And he spoke about stuff that's pagan and that Jehovah's Witnesses do, or some rituals that they involve themselves in, and that they're very hypocritical about that, because some stuff is pagan and they really don't care, like wedding cakes or wedding rings or whatever. But actually everything that hasn't got a Christian origin they see as pagan. But when worldly people talk about pagan stuff, well, maybe you might think about some creepy sacrifice rituals. Maybe you might think about witches, like dancing in this circle. Maybe you might think about some super cool Celtic magical stuff. But but most people have this, neutral feeling with the word and the meaning of pagan. But Watchtower makes it that Jehovah's Witnesses come to, abhor something that's pagan, and they should keep their distance from pagan stuff. Supposedly everything that's not approved by Watchtower is pagan, I guess. And the next one I have on my list is a very interesting one. It's the word immoral. And I've already spoken about this word once in a video. But if you, again, talk with a worldly person and you ask them to define the word immoral, probably they would say that it has to do with ethics, with what's good, what's bad, about morals, maybe about honesty, about righteousness, about empathy. What's the case with Watchtower literature? When they talk about immoral, it always has to do with sex. It's always sex stuff. When they provide some examples from the Bible about immoral behavior, then it's always about homosexuality, about some orgies, about cheating, fornication, everything that's actually immoral in Watchtower literature. It has never to do with someone who lies or steals. Yeah, they're totally redefining a word. It doesn't make sense. Also here I have the word spiritual or spiritually. When the Watchtower literature talks about spiritual stuff and someone who is spiritually strong, it always means that someone is super immersed in Watchtower doctrine, teachings, and is a very fanatic Jehovah's Witness. When someone is spiritually weak, then someone is maybe a little bit straying from Watchtower doctrine. You should shun those people. So, in the normal world, when someone is engaging in spiritual stuff, it can mean different stuff. So, it can mean religious things, but it can also mean like meditation, yoga, witchcraft. Maybe that's even spiritual. Like maybe having a totally awesome dream catcher is kind of spiritual. Not to me, but so they mean something entirely different by spiritual than normal people would. Next on my list I have Christian congregation or Christian. When Watchtower talks about Christians, they obviously mean the right Christians, aka Jehovah's Witnesses, right? They don't mean like Jehovah's Witnesses and Catholics and Protestants and Pentecostals. They only mean true Christians. So when they mean the Christian congregation, they don't mean all the other Christian churches. They only mean themselves. And then I have preaching. That's the last one on my list. Maybe I'll think of some other redefined words later on. But for now, this is the last one. And by preaching, Jehovah's Witnesses mean, obviously, the door-to-door evangelizing. In other religions, preaching can mean that you go out in some public place and you just try to talk to people about Jesus, about God, about religion, about prayer maybe. And for Jehovah's Witnesses, usually preaching would be door to door, but nowadays they also stand next to carts and wait until someone gets interested and wants to read some literature. That's not really preaching though, right? Because Jesus and the first century Christians, they would preach in public places, on market squares, or somewhere where a lot of people came by and just saw them and heard them and could listen to the message. But Jehovah's Witnesses don't do that, so preaching to them is only just going door to door, and I guess showing people some videos on jw.org on their tablet. I really don't know how it exactly goes, because I left the organization actually in 2009, and back then they didn't even have the broadcasting or the tablet stuff. jw.org wasn't a thing. I guess it was Watchtower.org then, and it was more like a library, I guess. It wasn't the televangelism stuff like we have now back in the day. So these were some words that are being redefined by the Jehovah's Witnesses, and I always thought, like, why are they redefining words? I mean, the words already have a meaning, right? Why do they have to add some more meaning, some totally different meaning to words that already exist? And now I realize it's just part of the indoctrination. When you introduce a specific type of speech into a religion, into a cult, then you separate the people in the cult from the outside world. You get this us versus them mentality. You can recognize other people by their speech, right? Because if you talk to other Jehovah's Witnesses as a Jehovah's Witness about the truth and worldly and maybe brothers and sisters, I mean, they understand that kind of language. But if you talk to a completely different person, maybe from another religion, and you told, well, you're telling someone, yeah, the truth is so great, someone would be like, what truth are you talking about? About what, right? So it separates Jehovah's Witnesses from other religions. And obviously, in some other religions, people have these special words as well. I guess in Mormonism, that's a thing. Scientology as well. But in mainstream Christian religions, there's nothing really that's kind of redefined. So maybe if you think of some wording that Jehovah's Witnesses used, leave it in the comments. Because these were the only ones that came to mind right now. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I wish you all a great day. See you next time.